What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wealth Not Weight. I'm your host, as always, Joseph Coizza, and today we are talking about knowledge and resources, finding those resources to help you get the knowledge you need. Now, everybody feels that in order to learn something, in order to become an expert, a pro out of it, you have to go to college, you have to learn, but that is all bullshit. You don't have to do that. What I view, and this is something that's very near and dear to my heart, okay, is talking about education and the way we need to, strive and be better for it. I'm not anti-college at all. I know a lot of people, you're not I'm not anti-college, I'm not anti-education, I feel a strong, firm education, learning everything that you can, learning all the important fundamentals, learning all that stuff, and getting well educated on the things that you're going to need in life is the best, if not one of the best, it is one of the, if not the best factor that you can do for succeeding and becoming whatever you want to be at life and having a good, happy life. You need to be knowledgeable on things. You need to be well researched. You need to be well taught. What I'm against is how schools push and shove and cram every single fucking child, no matter how different, no matter what, shape, color, idea they have, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, no matter where they want to go, they take them all and say, you're exactly as this other person next to you, and they cram them into one box and say, good, college is the best option for you. It's not. For you specifically, it might be. I have friends who go, I just want to go get a job in said field, and in order to do that, in order to achieve what I'm passionate about, I need to get a degree in that. And that, frankly makes sense, and that is so the case, and I 100% support them and think that is the most amazing thing that they could ever do, because they're following their dreams, and one part of that is going to college. You could do that a smart way. Okay, a lot of people don't do it a smart way, but a lot of people who just say, I just want to be happy in life. I have some passions and stuff. Maybe I don't know what I want to do. Maybe I do know what I want to do. College isn't necessarily the thing that you need to do for that. If you say want to become a musician, you go through high school, you're in your college years, and you say, okay, I really still have that passion. A lot of my friends wanted to be musicians, but they've since changed. But those who did, they went to college for it. Maybe that was a good outturn for them. They're not sure where they want to go with it. So maybe it'll be useful for them, maybe it won't be. But at the end of the day is they didn't need to go to college to be a musician. They just need to learn about music. They need to learn how to play music. They need to learn about whatever facet, about creation of music, about music history, about the philosophy of music. How does it make people feel? What does it provide for you? What type of music do I like? Why do I like it? How do I do it? How do I set it up? Maybe there's a different aspect of music that I like that I didn't even realize I like. Maybe I really like the cover arts of music. So it brings me into photography. And you're like, oh yeah, I like music. I like playing music. But I really like building this intricate cover and the setup of it and doing that. Maybe I'm into music production. Maybe I like playing an instrument. Yeah, but I like being behind the keyboard and mixing and changing and getting in with things. College isn't the best option for you then. Because unless you're going somewhere to get a job and that requires a degree, otherwise they won't even look at your resume, then you don't need it. Same thing with business. A lot of people go into business and they feel, I need a degree in business. You don't need a degree in business. If you want to go work for a company that's a large Fortune 500 type company, then yeah, maybe you need a degree. But at the end of the day, if you just want to have a successful business, if you just want to make money and explore the umbrellas of everything under business, you don't need to have a business degree to do that. Want to start a small business? You need to be well educated and well versed on certain aspects of it, of course, but you don't need a degree to do it. You want to go work for a big company, you may need a degree, but also at the same time, you may not. Depends on the position, depends on your knowledge, depends on your history. And, maybe college just isn't good for you as a person. Maybe it's something that you still need, but you need to go to, let's say, like a technical school. You're thinking you want to be something kind of like an engineer and you want to get into this kind of field, but instead of a degree, a technical, certificate or a technical degree or something along those lines would be a lot better for you. Oh, I want to, build things, I want to do this, I want to do that. Well, I could go to aviation school, go for a training for, however many months, maybe a year or two. I know it's not a whole lot longer. I know it's not more than an associate's degree. I could put it to you that way. And then I could do that, spend a fraction of the cost, potentially pay for it out of pocket without, having to maybe work a job or maybe pick up an extra job or something along those lines without needing to take out these massive amounts of loans. And then guess what? Now I have a certificate and I could go work on airplanes. And then this is now doing what I want to do instead of being an engineer. They're similar, but they're different. And that's a good career path for you. College isn't the direct path that you need to take no matter who you are, no matter what it goes. You need to go to college. Like every fucking guy in this country tries to shove down your face. But education, having some form of knowledge, having some form of research, that is a must. No matter what you do in life, no matter if it's everything or anything or nothing, you need to be well educated and well researched on what you're doing, where you want to go, what's going on, who am I, everything. Introspective It's doing research on who you are. I'm glad I took a year off. I found I love photography. I found art, design, and maybe I'm not going to be the person who wants to take that straight cut path to college and go to NYU like I thought I was. And it turns out I'm not, I mean, it's cost a lot of time in my life, but what things look like right now is that's not me. And then introspection is just knowing and researching a lot about yourself. If you want to become, this huge billionaire in, business of this field of tech, you could learn and research about tech. You don't need to go to school for it. You just have to be well educated and know a lot about it, and that'll help you create steps. That'll help you do stuff. Of course, there's no substitution for hard work and experience, but being well versed and knowledgeable, and that stretches through everything in your life, from weight loss to financial success to being just happy to relationships to automotive to everything, to real estate to just sitting around doing nothing. You have to be well versed on something. And this is some of the important things that you could do aside from college, obviously, is pick up a book. I mean, a lot of people think it's just old-fashioned. Oh, this, I want to pick up a book. What is this, 21st century? Nerd, you're reading. I get that all, especially from a lot of the younger generation, family members included. Nerd, you're reading. Just an old-fashioned book. Just pick it up, go to something like thriftbooks.com. They're super cheap, used books. Go to a Goodwill, go to a fucking library, something, it's free. And pick up a book. It's just this literature that, find these mentors that you like. Find these people who are well-versed on subjects. Find people who maybe have the same ideas as you, differing opinions. Pick it up and just read, get educated on something. You want to learn about astrophysics? I go down to my local library right now, like Pinellas isn't this, hot, bustling education center. But a lot of libraries have things on like fucking astrophysics, and I could become well-versed, at least from a minute standpoint, on something like astrophysics. I could break into a basic field, at least, with that knowledge then. Same thing with business, same thing with marketing. I want to learn about marketing, what worked then, what works now. And you can learn all that from reading, from these well-educated people. Obviously, you just don't want some schmuck telling you something on the internet, myself included. If you appreciate, and like what I'm doing, and I'm trying to teach for facts and what I know, if somebody's giving you the best education that they can through that reading, learning, you may learn something new, you may learn something different that you like. Obviously, picking up a book and reading isn't something that really should go away. A lot of smart, educated people, they'll tell you, I read a lot, I learned this, I do that. They read, and Word really helps them a lot. I just went and participated in a Q&A done by Inc. Magazine, a good business resource that I like. It's, not in the gospel of business, but it's something I definitely enjoy. And we did a Q&A with the And Pizza founder, Mr. Listoria. And one of the questions I asked was, about scaling and growing, and he answered it. He talked about your mentorship, and he did all that. And we'll get into online stuff in a minute, but he talked a lot about not having a mentor, just learning from the written word. Taking the people who, if he got to talk to, say, Warren Buffett or something, instead he read a book written by him. Maybe not Warren Buffett specifically, but he read a book by the people who he felt had value, from those mentors, from those professional people in the field that he wanted to learn. So reading is definitely not dead, and something that you could help you along the way and give you great research. Second of all is the internet, all right? The internet is free. If you want to go and say, I thought I wanted to go to college, for me specifically, I wanted to go to college because I thought they'd teach me everything I needed to know about business. What I then discovered is I didn't need to know to go to college, I just needed to know the information. I didn't need the degree that says, hey Joe, you know it, because I don't want to go work for somebody else. I want to build my own thing. I want to progress it, I want to do it. They care more about, in the business world, and especially something like that, is you can do it. Can you do it? What history do you have doing these great things? Do you know the material? Do you know this? What can you bring to us? What can you improve upon? How much money can you make us? They don't worry about, where'd you go and get your degree from? If I walked up and said, look, here's proof showing that I can make your business $1 million, I've done it from these businesses, and here's my history with it, and here's my knowledge, but guess what, I never went to college a day in my life, but here's what I know, and here's proof that I can do these great things, they're gonna hire me over somebody who has little experience but still had a degree. They're gonna take me in a heartbeat because I have a proven track record and the history of doing it, that experience. If I'm fresh with no experience versus fresh with a college degree, obviously that's different. But somebody with experience and proven, here's who I am, here's what I got, versus somebody who's unproven with a degree, they're gonna take the person who's proven every step of the way. But yeah, the internet is a huge way that I did that. I looked at videos about Warren Buffett talking. That's how I learned a lot about investing. They have a video breakdowns of books. Maybe you can't get to a library or something like that. You could watch a video breakdown, chances are you have an internet connection to watch this. If you're watching a channel like mine, you can learn in these really short segments, 10, 15, 20 minutes, however long. You could be waiting on a train somewhere, you could be at the airport and you could be watching a video right now and you could learn The basics are improved upon a skill of, say, something investing, real estate, music, arts, video games, music production, video production, literally anything you want to know, health, fitness, everything. You can learn the basics of it right at the fingertips. The internet, aside from an internet connection, even a library or something, you get a library card. You can get the internet somewhere, somehow, for free, and have the entire world of just knowledge, information at your fingertips. There was no generation in history who's had the opportunity for knowledge and thirst of knowledge like the generation is right now, like we have right now. I could know next to anything just by doing a Google search, just by maybe putting a little work into it if it's not immediately the first result on Google. Maybe by studying it for like a week, I could find any question, any topic, any answer, anything that I would want to know right there at my fingertips. And if it's not out there, that means it hasn't been discovered yet. That means I could go out there and do it myself. I could, perform an experiment. No, look, here's how fucking black holes work. I'm just saying, something crazy like that. That's a niche for you to go find. When you're starting to ask those questions, when you're starting to find those things, that means you know a bit about it, and you could start doing that yourself. Any of the basics, any of the advanced stuff, expertise stuff, anything really, other than those niche questions that haven't been asked or solved yet, is at your fingertips on the internet. The internet's free. I learned everything I did about investing through the internet, tried it, methoded it, see how it works, did it work for me, and tweaked it and made it work for me. And right now, knock on wood, doing pretty good. Same thing with health and fitness. Look, living proof. 100 plus pounds later, living proof. You can learn anything you want through the internet. So I think that's definitely a source that goes underused. Everybody wants to find out when their plane's taken off, obviously stuff like that. You get the websites, porn people watch, everything on the internet, video games, the whole nine, but information, wealth, finding those strong sources on the internet, finding those important things, and becoming an expert on topics without needing to go and pay thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to a school to become an expert on those topics. It's all at your fingertips on the internet. And I think really that's the most, if anything, that is the most important resource I can give you as far as education, becoming researched. Books are also extremely important, the next stuff I'm going to talk about. But that is probably the biggest resource because you can get and learn and feel and just really get into it. A good YouTube video. When Warren Buffett's talking, I felt Warren Buffett was talking to me. I got into it, and the questions I had, I Googled those questions, Warren Buffett, found him talking about it, and just really it nailed home with me, and I could just reach out and touch all that information. That's what it feels like. So really the internet is still, you'd be surprised, but it's still a super underused and underappreciated resource that I feel is extremely important. Number 3 is mentorship. Obviously, if you have that option to you, not a lot of people do. I don't myself. Finding some strong, and this is professional mentorship, I'll give that a caveat, a professional mentorship, finding somebody who's an expert in that field and finding and learning from them. Say if I got an internship with Warren Buffett or something like that kind of level, or somebody who's a huge professional, somebody who really made it. I had a friend of mine who flew to Australia and hung out with this, big business person. A couple of them went, they got to stay at his house, they got to learn about business, they got to talk to him, they got to explore meetings, got to have all that expertise, and they're doing well in their field. Of course, they're going to college and doing all that. But they'll probably get a high-level executive job because they have the degree, with the high-level executive job, and they have some internship and mentorship, and that's the route that they want to go. They're probably going to achieve that because they had all that research, that knowledge, and those opportunities. Obviously, a lot of people don't have those opportunities, especially if you come from a low-income background or you're in a minority background. You're probably not going to have as much of a mentorship opportunity as somebody like myself. Or, there's people who are more well off than me, of course, who, will have those people as, family, oh, let me go hang out with Uncle Warren and then learn about stocks and investment. Let me go hang out with my dad's cousin, Bill Gates, and learn about the computer industry, Obviously, those options for a professional mentorship, you can learn things like, learn things like that and have an apprenticeship and become an expert through those people who have mastered, studied, and done those things. They can tell you all the pitfalls. Oh, when I started out, here's this. Here's, mastering the basics for me, now it's second nature. Here's how I do this. Here's how I do some advanced stuff. When I was learning the basics, here's something important. And they can really give you that salt of the earth, real person advice and how they did it. And obviously they're professional and how it worked for them. and avoid some pitfalls that other people may find. You get to ask them questions directly, contact them, talk to them, see firsthand, and really get involved and in the middle of your education. You at that point become the center of your education. You know, you should always be the center of your own education, but you really then feel it because you're with that person, communicating, learning, differentiating. Okay, here's the problems I see. Here's how I would solve it. You know, let me talk to somebody. Why am I right? Why am I wrong? What do I still have to learn? What have I learned? The whole nine with that big professional mentor. Obviously, it's a big level person and too, showing you how to do it to the best of your ability. That's also a really great resource, not open to everybody, but if you have that option or can go for it, absolutely do, because that would be invaluable, you know, later in life. Things I would do to have a mentorship, or just even sit down and have a conversation, you know, just one-on-one with, say, you know, Warren Buffett, and be able to talk about investing and all that, or even just life. You know, he's just a generally good, great, happy guy. I just like to talk about experiences, you know, tell me an old story about, you know, when he was young or something. Just really learn something from such a great person. That's what it would be great to have a professional mentorship like that. Now we're gonna move into something that I had an experience with, and a lot of people do as well, is unprofessional mentorship. Not somebody who's necessarily in that field. Let's say just a family member who owns a business. You know, obviously my family, we owned a small business. My dad's owned a small business a good portion of his life. So was his grandfather, and learning and finding things out through business that maybe worked for him, that didn't work for other people, that didn't work for other people, but you know, that worked for other people and didn't work for him, his experiences, how things go, and I get to see firsthand working in that business, especially, you know, if it's a small family business like that, seeing what works, seeing how things are, seeing how it works at the low, small level, not just the massive top level. You're starting at the bottom, you're starting at the basic with that, you know, low level, unprofessional type mentor, you know, and obviously in my family, so I could ask them whatever I want, whenever I need, talk to them, ask them questions, they let me experiment, try things in the business, some things worked, some things didn't. That low-level mentorship, you really get to see from the ground up and just see what works. You get to see, oh, well, why are they in this position, and they could talk to me about stuff. It's the same as a professional mentorship, obviously, but without the giant, great expertise and maybe as much as the opportunity that you get. You get to see, starting from the bottom, how things go, how things are. So even people like Gary Vee, his father was a business owner, you know, being an immigrant coming from, you know, not a whole lot from Belarus, and then opening a wine business and working in a wine business. You get to see that unprofessional mentorship from his father. Here's what I feel, here's how things are gonna go, here's what we need to do. And he learned a lot from his father, same thing I learned from my father with, you know, his business and, you know, our family business and the restaurant. That is also invaluable. Which leads me into the experiences, you know, getting out, working hard, learning firsthand in yourself. If you can't get a mentorship and you can't learn to do that, just go out and do it. That's a great way to learn things. Obviously, you want to be putting a whole lot on the line, and if you don't have any idea on what you're doing, you know, sometimes you gotta, you know, risk it for the biscuit, but other times you want to mitigate those risks. And not put a whole lot on the line when you have no idea what you're doing. But going out and learning. So there's been businesses I tried to make my video game business. I talked to you guys. I learned a lot through it, and you know, eventually it ended up closing, and I shut it down because it wasn't making me money. It was just costing a lot of money all the time. But I did it, and I learned it, and that's something I now have under my belt. I have, well, working with friends from the restaurant. I have working in a small business, working in a restaurant industry. You know, my friends talk to me, oh, you know, I work at this restaurant, and this, and I can get right in there and I can talk to them about it. You know, maybe they'll teach me new things about, oh, you know, I never really looked at it like that way. But I have this expertise that allows me now to bring that knowledge on and improve. You know, or maybe I enlighten them with something. You know, you learn more from doing, going to experience. You know, people can talk about, oh, what it's like to be in, say, like the fashion industry or this, that, but people who actually work in the fashion industry know how it is. I could talk to people about being in, you know, professionals and retail. You know, somebody could tell me how retail industry is. I get to live it firsthand because, you know, that's really great. But yeah, I get to learn and experience and see all that firsthand. Investments, doing, seeing what worked for me. Here's my experience on it. Oh, somebody says, oh yeah, you know, I wanted to do this, same thing with weight loss. Here's what worked for me. Here's my experience with it. It didn't work. Not just the knowledge that I built from learning things, but here's my experience firsthand. Life experience is just, that's another thing that's just invaluable. That's up there with, you know, the internet. I'd say it's equally as important, but just on a different scale. It's as far as just knowing things, but as far as knowing firsthand and getting things, the internet, you get whatever information you want anytime, full force. Experience, you know, it builds you, it builds who you are, it builds what you know. That's a different type of knowledge. You know, like I talked about before, book smart with school and going out and experiencing, that's just a completely different level. Somebody can learn about criminal justice, say, in college, But then somebody who I went out and was a detective, you know, for X amount of years will know what they know. Obviously, they may not know about the new super method that they're studying at Duke University. Okay, but they know, here's what I had, here's this case, here's how that is. And they can come and they can bring those knowledges and that information experience together, and that's when, you know, great ideas are formed. But either one, you're still getting, you know, good information, experience, you're living it though, firsthand, you know what's going on. And that, again, is invaluable. That's up there with the internet, and I'd say is the most important thing along with the internet. They're just important for different reasons. One gives you that super source of information. One is changing who you are as a person. Both extraordinarily unique and extraordinarily valuable, and because no one experience is going to be like the other, even if it's similar something. When you guys go for an internship around the same time doing the same thing, your experience and somebody else's experience will be completely different, especially because you have different histories, backgrounds, everything leading up to that point, and your different takeaways that I'll take from that. Experiences is another great knowledgeable resource. But that's just some things that you guys can learn, some resources that you can build, some things you may have thought of, some things I'm sure you didn't think of, but just stuff in general that you can learn from and improve yourself as a person, or just learn skills, topics, anything, you know. Practice makes perfect. It's just really important to be knowledgeable and educated on different topics, on different things, especially things you want to be successful in. Knowledge is important on yourself, introspectively, you know, going through all that and finding out how you are. Being well educated in something, well versed in everything you can be, and gaining all that knowledge and information, becoming a better person, becoming the best you that you can be, is just one of the most important things you can do with anything in life in general. And these are hopefully some resources that you guys can use to improve and become better people and better yous. If you guys like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.